Morning, guys and girls. Day 9 now. Hopefully you found bags of useful content in the previous 8 days of material. If you have, please leave a kind comment. It helps us. It helps the algorithms. Head over to social media. Add a nice comment if you feel the need. If you're on YouTube, then leave a comment in the link below. Click on one of the links, subscribe to the page. If you're on iTunes right now, then please subscribe to the channel, give us 5 stars, tell us what you think. It really does help not only allow us to reach more people, but also opens up some further opportunities for us. So if you found the value in any of these, please do us a favor, help us out. And by doing so, you allow us to reach more people and to expand the reaches of what we can deliver and who we can deliver to. So in advance, I appreciate any advice or any guidance, any help, any recommendations, any support that you can. Thank you. So today I want to talk about why some people want to quit and why you're only human if you want to. Quitting for me can seem, and again, I mentioned the word yesterday when we were speaking about depression, about the industry being stigmatized by quitting. Quitting is a word that is used in primary schools and certainly was during the 80s when I was brought up. You know, quitting wasn't an option, quitting was failure, but there are various different levels and considerations to take into consideration when we whether we should quit or whether we should not quit and just continue despite constant feedback. Now, I've mentioned it before about legacy, and again, it's going to be something that I talk about in later episodes. But once you've created a statement that cannot be achieved in this lifetime, but 10 lifetimes to become, i.e. something that can't be achieved full stop during your awakened breath, your daily goals should be stretched to a level of which are ultimately unachievable, but are achievable because you've chunked down to something that using the 3 major things and between 3 and 5 minor things per day, again mentioned in one of the earlier episodes. But when is the right time to quit? Well, the right time, I believe, not to follow through with your initial intention is when the end goal, the end result, the end purpose, the end intention has shifted so much that it doesn't serve any value or purpose in following through today with the actions that supported that old version of self. I am not, and I can stand here or sit here and deliver the message to you that I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago for many, many different reasons. I've been and invested in myself over the last 10 years, probably more than anybody else that I know, probably in excess of £250,000 in finances. I have invested in, the time and effort to build my knowledge, my known. I've invested thousands upon thousands of hours in working with some of the most elite athletes globally in order for me to understand what they've been through in order to deliver a message which can continue to help and inspire other athletes around the world. Knowing more about them allows me to build more understanding of the internal blueprint of other people. So the investment in self for me is the solution and something that I will continue to do. I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago. If I was the same person that I was 10 years ago and I'd seen no growth and development in self, and I hadn't worked in alignment to my future purpose, my legacy statement, and if I was meeting masses of resistance on a daily basis, it would highlight to me that something is in misalignment. Now, we all experience challenges, we all experience struggles, we all hit the wall at some point where we start to question whether what we're doing is the right choice. That is completely natural. It's an aspect of the human psyche that supports and allows us to pause for a minute. But what I mean is not those momentary pauses where things are getting tough and you start to question whether you're on the right path or not, is whether you're working today to support that future version of self, that legacy statement, and if you're still in that right, on that right path. Now, sure, 15 years ago, I didn't have 2 children, I didn't have a mortgage, I didn't have this business, I was working in a completely different industry. 5 years previous to that, I was in the military, in a situation of which morally I knew that I didn't want to be in. I didn't agree with the strategies of people in power, in force. They weren't aligned to my own values and beliefs, and certainly not in line with the person that I wanted to be or I saw. But even then, that person now is somewhat different to the person that I am. So wanting to quit, you're only human. Wanting to quit because of the right reasons and the wrong reasons are very, very different. So if you have experienced this in the past, you're experiencing it now, and you're listening, or you think it's going to be something that arises in the future, I just want you to remember back to this point. The reason to quit or not to continue on your current path is only based on any alterations that you're making to that end goal. If you are still heading towards that end goal and you still very much want to achieve that and you're questioning yourself, then that path will, you're going through a temporary roadblock and you just need to find a detour in order to get there. Perhaps it's time for you just to pause, to rethink about that end purpose, that end objective, that end goal, and question whether it is true to you. If you want to quit because that end purpose, that end goal is completely misaligned and you're following through with a life strategy that you created 10 years ago and you've not altered or changed it despite there being change in the end goal and purpose, then that is the reason why you're misaligned. That's the reason why you're encountering so much resistance in your life. That's the reason why daily you're feeling that emotional disconnection with what you're doing. It's because you're completely misaligned to that person, that vision that you want to be, and that vision has changed. That's completely normal. I'm not the person I was 10 years ago. I'm not the person I was 5 years ago. And in 10 years' time, I'm not going to be the same person that is sitting here now recording this audio. My known would have been, or the intention for me is to have an increased version of known. So to increase my knowledge, my understanding of people, of the world, of the internal world and the external world. So my intention is to grow and expand my known. As a result of that, the information that I'm going to hold in 10 years to become will be greater than the information here now. Therefore, my communication is going to be improved and the relationships that I have will improve, again, based on that increased version of known. Now, if I fail myself and fail to adjust that sail, then I'm going to still end up in that same port. I'm going to still end up following a strategy or an aspiration and goal intention that I set 10 years previously, but with greater knowledge, greater knowns, greater understanding. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing if you've set a lifestyle 10 years ago that is greater, but there is still going to be misalignment because your daily learnings, your daily experiences are gaining and growing constantly. So why should not your end goal, your port, your destination also grow in alignment to that? So when is the right time to quit? Well, the right time to quit is when you're so far off course that you need a fundamental shift and you need a real wake-up call to that end purpose, that end goal, that end strategy. If that is you now and you've related to anything that I've got to say or have said during this or during day 9, then I want you to grab a pen and paper right now and write down your end destination, your end goal, where you want to be on your last wakened breath, where you want to be, what you want to have experienced, and then ask yourself whether what you've done over the last 10 years has contributed towards that. What did you do yesterday in day 8? Day 8 of this Tribe series, what did you do to contribute towards that end goal, that end destination, that end result? Then question, if you did nothing, why not? Was it because of laziness, or was it because of the lack of known? If it's laziness, then you need to do something about that. Otherwise, you're going to end up living with anger, frustration, fear, resentment, and envy. Or have you the lack of known, and where can you go to find it? Could it mean that you need to hire a coach to give you more understanding of self, or even add the element of accountability? That's a program that we offer. Or do you need to increase your known over an alternative daily support structure? Where can you go to get that? Do you need to increase known over your relationships? Or have you set a legacy statement, a purpose, a end result, which actually is not yours, but you've inherited from somebody else? Are you working daily to realize somebody else's dream? These are all questions that you need to be asking yourself in the present moment. When is the right time to quit? Well, the right time is never when you're in alignment to where you want to be, the goal that you've set yourself. When is the right time to quit? Well, we all experience that question. We all experience that momentary pause of questioning whether we're on the right path. But the right time to quit is when you question yourself and realize that there is another option, there is another choice, that you're no longer in perfect alignment to that future version of self. So, recommendation today: grab a pen and paper, write down what you want to achieve on your last waking breath, or have achieved in your lifetime, and whether you're working daily to achieve that, and whether it's time to have a serious wake-up call to yourself, whether you need to take some action today in order to realize that dream, to get yourself back on track, back moving in that forward momentum, springboarding from today to tomorrow in that growth pattern that you deserve. And ultimately it comes down to that. Are you deserving to achieve what you want, or have you subscribed to another's way of living because that is a mediocre lifestyle that you believe that you deserve? Do you believe more, that you deserve more? Or do you believe that what you have now is just enough? Only you can decide. That's it for today. Tomorrow I'm going to be talking about self-sabotage. So remember to subscribe, tune in, and send over your feedback. Leave some kind words if you would. Appreciate everything that you send over. We read everything, and I'm sure it will inspire us to send out more material and help more people.